We'll start. Om Sahanavavatu Sahanau Bhunaktu Sahaviryam Karavavahai Tejasvinavadhetamastu ma Vishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Today we will do the second session of the way of the Ronin, Dokkodo. I will just share the slide with you. Right. So certain things in life we never pause and think. Or I would say we never pause and think in life. It's not certain things. Our life is just going. It's on its own path. We have snippets of control over it. We do, but very few. It seems as though the life lives you. You don't live your life. And I doubt there are hardly anybody who could say, I live my life. We are human beings, but that doesn't really count. If you see how the animals in the jungle live, they do not have any control over the circumstances they are in. You know, if you notice that, they actually do not. I would say we also are in the same boat. Now, why is it that? So, why don't we live our lives? Seems to be we do not pause and think. Our desires are so much, our preferences are so much. It's just like, if you put a magnet and if you put an iron piece over there and you just bring a magnet, how the iron piece runs and sticks to the magnet, that's how the life pulls us into experiences. And I don't think we do realize that we have the power to pause. So 7 a.m., we all had to come. It just pulled us here. 8 a.m., it pulls us somewhere else. And in this pulling, we may exercise sometimes our power to say no or our power to do something else, but it's hardly any. Hence, no matter how you have lived in your 20s, in your 30s, in your 50s, in your 70s, it hasn't much changed. I have personally seen in these 40 years, at least 30 years or 20 years, I've seen a person who was in 40s and in 60s. I've seen a person who's in 20s and in 40s, and I've seen a person in 60s and 80s. I doubt they have changed. There may be some things, little bit here and there, but it doesn't really accentuate their quality of life. They can't, I don't think they would stand up and say, hey, I've changed. I'm a different man since I was 20. Now I'm 60. I doubt it. It's the same pattern of living. It's the same pattern of thinking. It's just uh, over different areas, but it's the same thing. Why don't people change? Why don't they change? Question. First of all, you
Do,
must agree people don't change because you would say, no, they change, sir. For which I have a counter also. Yes. First of all, do you guys agree that people don't change?
we would not want to leave our comfort zone.
See,
So,
that's a good answer, but I have a counter question for that. Is that a really comfortable life that we are living?
exactly. I know you would say that.
Isn't it? It's
Yes.
not comfortable. I wouldn't want to be the same as I was in my 20s. I'm still like that.
But
But
maybe
it's
if I'm talking about the comfort, it could be like only the physical or the material comfort, you know? So if I try to analyze, or like when you said that uh, we would like it's our own wish to come for the class. So then, if we are coming for the class, means we know that what we are living is not as good as what it should be. Utna samajh hai, that much we are aware.
Hmm.
But to actually change is difficult, or I don't want to. It's either of the two.
Correct.
Actually, it's not even
If
difficult. It's that I don't want to.
why don't we want to? Is the question. Because you see, I don't like my present state. That means what? I
Means I
I
would
want
want to
it,
change.
but I don't want to change. What is happening?
It's like
Why don't we do anything about it? Why not? Why don't we do anything about it? We all want to change.
Because change is hard. That's all.
No, see, that is the another question. Is change hard? Is it hard? Because there are certain things that you immediately change in your life. In a jiffy, you didn't like it, you changed it. Isn't it? There are certain things you just changed it. Nobody pushed you. It was difficult, but you changed. It's not that you're indisciplined. It's not that you don't have the thing to change, but you just don't change. People don't. Same person. I cannot believe I'm telling you this. It's 20 years, 30 years, they have not changed, including the speaker. But I could give myself a little bit credit. You know why? We want to change, we don't change. Comfort. What is the comfort? There is not enough discomfort. It is not there. The problem is you are anybody. See, if let's say you have a house, you go to a friend's house, not your house, you go to a friend's house, and there is a peculiar smell there. It just doesn't gel with you. You go and tell them, hey, you know what? There is some smell. What would your friend say?
She would not feel it herself.
Smell?
Because she's immune to it.
What smell? That's what she'll say. She would not recognize that she is in bad smell. So there is a sense of a little bit of blindness in us to our own issues. So you have a backache. You just live with that. You would never take a fresh measurement and say, why do I have to live like this? The other day I was talking to Sushila ji, and she was saying, in general, whenever I go, I talk to her. Amazing personality. And she was saying, when you know the truth, whatever the truth is, here is the backache or self, God. She gives an example of a person who is studying in the school and he dropped out at the 8th standard. Now, there's no problem. घर में सब कुछ है, खाना है, सोना है, सब कुछ है, parents are there, everything. He dropped out. Your question would be, Bhaiya, why did you drop out? Why? Why don't you finish your 10th standard? So she's saying, why do we choose to live a suboptimal life when you know you can live a good life? Who told you to do that? Are there any problems in life that are restricting you to live a suboptimal life? No. But we choose to live like that.
You don't feel that there is anything wrong. Or
No,
you know it is wrong.
you do feel the discomfort, but you just settle with that discomfort. And afterwards, you get used to the discomfort and you say, this is how life is. You would never try and correct it. No, why people don't correct? When they know it's a suboptimal life, why don't they correct? Why don't I correct myself?
It takes repetitive conscious effort to correct myself.
Why don't I put that repetitive conscious effort?
Like
For
I
other
said,
things I'm doing, no?
Because I have not given so much importance to this.
Meaning?
In the sense that I say it is important, but if I say it's important, then I need to act upon it, which I do not.
Why did not I say that this is important?
No, I said I say it is important, but I don't act upon it.
Why don't I act upon it?
Because I feel it's not important.
Why don't I feel it's important? Because see, in this class, it's not about lectures. We want to analyze a problem. We just want to get in depth of that, peel the entire onion and find that seed, whatever, if there is a seed. Why don't I feel it's important? When I know it's bugging me, when I know it's not good for me.
There are so many other things we get into. So we'll forget one thing which is to be changed or which is good. We will not see that. We'll not focus on that. You mean to say other attractions? Other
There's so
things, so
many
many.
things, correct? There's so many things pulling us, distracting us. Okay, that's one point.
Basically, your gunas never change. The
Why?
combination of your gunas,
No,
because
sir.
you're born
No.
with that. You're born
No,
with
no,
that.
no, no, no. That is the, ma'am, that is a good point, but that's the beauty of human being. We have the ability to change. Thank God we do. Because I know, you know from your own experience that there are certain difficult things you changed. You put that damn effort. You did that. You did that. So it was not possible, but you did it and you changed. But you don't do it for everything.
You don't do it enough.
Why? You know, the whole issue, there are only couple of reasons why you don't do it. One is भगवान के हाथ में है. If there is a difficult situation he throws at you, then you're forced to change. Right? If he throws, if he's good enough, he is kind enough to you, he will throw a difficult situation to change you, to make you a better person. But many of us crumble in that and complain instead of thanking God to pushing me to change, because I will not change generally. Second thing, the most important thing is we never sit and internalize anything. All our vision, our view of perception of life is outwards, outwards, outwards. We never sit. Even if we sit, there's a phone. Even if we sit, there's a newspaper. If we never sit, it's such a discomfort to sit with yourself. If we sit, we look out of the window and see the traffic. We never sit and analyze what is bugging me. What can I do about it? We never do that. And until and unless we do that, we will never know that this is actually making me live a suboptimal life. Truly know. And unless you truly realize that this is an issue, you will never put an effort to solve it. But you know what the interesting thing is? It is an issue. We just know it. Hence, the importance of study, and not just study, think. We need to internalize life. Or sometimes what may happen is you only look at life from one perspective. So you can never get to that point of internalizing. So it's like, you know the example of saturation. When you take a beaker and put like some chemical into it, let's say put sugar, and you start stirring, it'll dissolve, right? You put more sugar, what happens?
Caramelizes.
नहीं ना, खाली वो, only
Only
normal
sugar.
temperature water. You keep stirring it.
Become more
After
thicker.
time, huh?
Become more thicker.
After that, the
It
sugar will not,
becomes solid, yeah.
it will just settle in the bottom. So we would say, sir, every week I'm studying, every week I'm coming to classes, but no change. It may have been saturated. You may have to look at, see, you keep on adding the same viewpoint, same perception of life into the beaker to try and solve that problem. It becomes heavier and heavier, but not change. You understand the example? You're putting in knowledge, it'll dissolve and change your texture of your personality. But afterwards, you look at life, your inputs are the same. It doesn't change. You may need a different perspective in life. That doesn't mean listen to everybody, random. No. You just need something called as pratipaksha bhavana in Bhajagovindam, he says. You need that pratipaksha bhavana. You need to look at life differently. Whenever it's interesting, there are certain rules to arguments which will really benefit you. When you want to, not even arguments, when you want to, क्या बोलते हैं? Talk about somebody, what is it called? Gossip. When you want to gossip, please gossip. But one of the rules of gossip is do not take the name. इसने ऐसे किया ना, अगर किसी ने ऐसे किया तो क्या करना चाहिए इज डिफरेंट फ्रॉम इसने ऐसे किया क्या करना चाहिए. Right? The moment you remove the name, you know it, they don't know it, it becomes an analysis. The moment you take the name, it becomes judgment. And now, the beauty of this is you should have people of the same frequency, only then this is possible. So let's say you talk about somebody and then say, hey, you know what, this is what he has done or she has done, and this is the reason. And they will give you a different perspective of why they must have done this. Like that, you are trying to defend your point, she or he, your friend, is trying to defend their point, and you get a good analysis of that personality there, right? Sometimes, very rare times, you may need to take the name because it may be detrimental to another person, like detrimental, like really bad, not normal, right? Life at stake, then you may have to take the name. So let's say you're debating. What I would suggest is, after a certain debate, take the opposite view. Right now, you're complaining. These are the reasons to complain. Now, take the opposite view and defend the same person who has harmed you. That's when your thinking becomes more refined. And when you have a refined thinking, then you are unbiased. Then you start and analyze yourself from a different perspective. When you analyze yourself from a different perspective, you may get the depth. This is a real problem. The moment I know that this is a real problem, then there is a change. Right now, we are not realizing that it's a real problem, though it is a real problem. Now, coming to this great master, Miyamoto Musashi. We have covered 4 points. Let's go down to the fifth. So the first 4 points were interesting is I will not oppose the ways of life, the ways of the world. You understand, right? To accept everything as it comes. We discussed this. The way it is, right? Okay, this is fine. We understand the world is the way it is, and many things in the world you cannot change. So you just keep to it. Either you have a choice to complain or you have a choice to accept. I will not change the way of world. Or you can change if it's possible for you to change. Second is, I will not seek pleasurable activities. So this, he says like this, but you must understand what it means. It's not a direct. So don't seek pleasurable activities for its sake. In the sense, what he's trying to explain is the more you seek a similar pleasurable activity, the pleasure in that activity is lost. You know, you eat alm. How many alm can you eat? If you keep eating 20, 30 alms in 3 days, you cannot eat alm anymore in the whole season. So you got to abstain in anything that really gives you pleasure. Abstain, conscious abstinence, so that you can enjoy that for a longer time. Third one is, do not under any circumstance depend on a partial feeling. So we discussed this where action based on feelings, just feelings, can really offset your life. Sometimes it may be okay, but most of the times it's not a probabilistically good idea to do that. So you need to use your intellect to do that, because mind is like a child. It's like a monkey. Your intellect has to be there to guide you, right? That's one. And then I consider myself unimportant, but not the world, not the world so great and deep. So I think we didn't finish this. We did. So think lightly of yourself and deeply of the world. So what he's trying to say is, he's saying you are neither unimportant nor important. See, if you are out of the picture in this world, nothing's going to really change, Baba. You really, you really think that the world is affected by you? Abdul Kalam died. Did the world get affected? No, not really. The world is going on. You know, Mahatma Gandhi died. World is going on. Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. You have a question? Raised your hand. Right. Okay. So, but it's not that the world doesn't get affected. People around you do get affected when you're not there. Right. There is a movie, I think. Did we see that movie? Did I recommend it to movie? What a Wonderful Life, 1946. Huh? Did I recommend that movie to you guys? I think I did, long time ago.
Can't recall.
It's a beautiful movie, beautiful movie. Anyway, I'll send you the link. Watch it. So now, E. Carpenter says, never before I could have believed it. So what he's trying to say is, the more you get yourself into the picture, the more problematic your life is. What about me? What about me? Then issues are mounting up. But if you say, Arey, big deal, I'm just a spoke in a wheel of life. Billions and trillions of stars are there. क्या हूं मैं? आपने वो 2 वीडियो देखा होगा ना, मैंने जो व्हाट्सएप में भेजा था. You see
Yes.
what a human being is there? Did you see what is the size of a human being? Nothing. Absolutely nothing. You don't even exist in the cosmos. So if you treat yourself as that, life is easy. But do understand that you are neither important nor unimportant. So I will suggest that movie of What a Wonderful Life. You see how he explains. Now, 5. I will be free of desire throughout my entire life. Now, it is just not possible. Human beings means desire. Without desire, you cannot exist. Without thought flows, you cannot exist. What does he mean by this? So it says, be detached from desire your whole lifelong means have no hard preferences. See, you must dilute this in our day-to-day activities. Desires in the sense preferences. You should never have hard preferences. This is a rule that I follow. Do not have preferences, hard preferences. You may have a little bit preferences here and there, but do not, because I know certain people, many people, uh, क्या बोलते हैं, वो लीफी वेजिटेबल रहता है ना ऊपर थोड़ा तड़का में डालते हैं ना, क्या बोलते हैं, कोथमीर, आई डोंट नो व्हाट, समथिंग,
Coriander. Coriander.
कोरिएंडर, कोरिएंडर नहीं खाएंगे, सब कुछ खाएंगे, कोरिएंडर नहीं खाएंगे, नहीं तो सब कुछ खाएंगे, अनियन निकालेंगे, या सब कुछ खाएंगे, क्या बोलते हैं, आई डोंट नो, जिंजर मिला गया तो जिंजर निकालेंगे. Hard preferences. The other day, one of the students was removing this some leafy vegetable out of it. I was having. Then see, since he's very young to me, so I thought I'll just tell him, like, he knows hard preference and all that. So I gave him a different perspective. I didn't give him likes and dislikes, all that. I told him, man, you know what that thing means to you. You will just throw it, right? वो आलू वो प्याज निकाल के you throw it. Then I told him, you know what? I remember when I was in my teenagers, I've seen a documentary on African kids. This was in Somalia or something. And kids छोटे छोटे, ठीक से कपड़े भी नहीं है. They are having this bowl. वो bowl में the non-profit guys give some food, बहुत सारे छोटे 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 छोटे, इतने बड़ा लाइन है, इतने क्यूट से है, तो उनको खाना दे रहे हैं ना. They ate and then they showed a video. They did not intend to convey that meaning, but the meaning was there. Where a small little girl, छोटी है, बोल है, खाली है, पर एक एक दाना इधर चिपका हुआ है, one rice, and then you could see she's taking each individual rice grain and then eating. That's the value of that rice grain. One grain of rice has that much value. What do? I've seen many of this habit hai, they just eat, something has to be left there. It's not that they don't, this is even worse. This fellow at least did not like that. They they ate that rice, but then थोड़ा छोड़ देते हैं वहां. मैं तो उसको बोल नहीं सकता, मगर इसको तो मैंने बोला है कि देख, this is a perspective you can have. Do you think that little girl will lead the pyaz away that you have left? No way in the world she will leave that. No way. She will pick and eat that. Perspective. So, if we have preferences, it will restrict us. That's what Miyamoto Musashi says. It will make you less adaptive. So for a warrior, he is a Ronin, right? For a warrior, he cannot have hard preferences because certain things will restrict his movements, restrict his knowledge acquisition, restrict his life itself. So you may prefer not to cook low-key, but if somebody cooks low-key, eat the damn thing. I know you don't like it, but bhai, you didn't ask, they gave you, just eat it. Because that is where the push is. I will push myself to be non-preferential. Eat it. I always thank myself that I remember when I was a kid, I never used to like papaya. I told you this. My dad forced me to have papaya. Cow. Under pressure and duress, I ate. But I thank him for pressurizing me. I love papaya now. मैं सोया नहीं खाता. And some people I know, they're Brahmins. They don't like tofu or soya. I asked them why. No, it feels like meat. Then I asked them, did you ever eat meat? कभी मीट नहीं खाया. How do you know what it tastes like? सोया निकाल देंगे.
This makes sense. When I was younger, Vivek, I used to tell my mother that who wears lighter colors? Yuck. I
हाँ.
like only or everything bold, vibrant, flashy, right? Who wears half my wardrobe is now off-white.
Hmm.
It's so ironical.
See,
I used to
off-white is
think,
such a beautiful color.
no, and I feel so, find lighter colors, off-white, beige, cream color, so soothing now. So soothing.
True.
My husband says half your wardrobe is the same color. And the
Hmm.
same person, when I think back, I used to laugh at my mother that you wear too much white and cream, and who wears these pale, insipid colors?
Hmm.
And I think, what was I thinking? I don't know what I was thinking. I just liked everything loud and vibrant and flashy, right? Like when you said the papaya thing, it struck me. I had such hard preferences. Um,
But you know what? There is one more psychological thing in it. Um, uh, Not always, but there are some things in it where as you become more little easier with yourself, you prefer a little easier colors, you know. But I cannot make that a generalized statement. Cannot. But yeah. Okay. So have no hard preferences. Now, why did I say unselfish person there? Because an unselfish person will not have hard preferences. A selfish person will have hard preferences. An unselfish person adjusts, adapts. Since he adjusts and adapts, he is mostly happy than a selfish person. Attachment to desires like signing off your happiness to external agencies, isn't it? You like rainy season, there is not a drop of rain in Bombay. You're an agitated person. अरे रेनी सीजन में लोनावाला खंडाला जाना था, पानी नहीं है, जाके क्या फायदा, ये क्या है, ये क्या है. Any attachment to these preferences is a problem to you. This is what Musashi understand, stands. So imagine if he has said this, that means though he's a warrior, he's a Ronin, he's a peaceful guy. Inside there is like a, calm river, not like Ganges. He's calm, like a pond, like a big lake, right? We understand attachment is dependency on that preference. And that dependency mostly will bring you sorrow. There are circumstances where it can bring you happiness also. I like only Loki. Somebody gives you Loki, you are very happy. But if Loki is not there, you are unhappy. In Bhagavad Gita verse 64, it says, but the self-controlled man, free from likes and dislikes, among among objects, moving among objects. See, that's a beautiful thing. With his senses under control, attains peace. So he's in and out of likes and dislikes, but he's not attached to those likes and dislikes. Right? Now, another question here arises, when you do this, you're not denying yourself. You got to be careful there. It's called self-control, where you don't have hard preferences. You know, you're okay with that, certain things. But you can't say you can, you would, at any cost, I will do certain things. You don't have to, let's say you don't like, silly example I'm giving, ladies' fingers. You don't have to push yourself to have ladies' fingers all the time. It's not mandatory that you should go and force yourself to experience your dislike. Not necessary. Don't cook in your house.
You're just saying that if somebody makes it, have it Shanti se.
Yes,
Don't make
Shanti
a
se
fuss of
khao.
it.
Haan,
Don't make a
because
fuss
it's,
of it.
it's just okay, man. It's big deal. But don't cook at your house. So you don't have to push yourself to cook and eat all the time. नहीं
You
चलेगा
know,
वो चलेगा हाँ yes.
this reminds me, Vic, when we were small, okay? We obviously didn't like certain vegetables like lauki, tinda, these type of.
Hmm.
And so at home, when mom made them, we would like, wrinkle our nose and do all that. But there was a strict rule, Vivek. When we went to somebody's house, we ate what was there and we did tarif of the cook. I still remember we went to somebody's house where they put double the amount of salt in the food that was required. We ate it quietly, Vivek. We were so scared of getting whacked by my mom, dad. हमने चुपचाप वो आलू गोभी मुझे अभी तक याद है बचपन में इतना नमक था you can't eat it and they're asking how's the food yum damn good because we were forbidden from but I think back I think it was great, right? Because you have to have that basic courtesy and we would make our nose at home and all these things, but dare we try any of that if we go somewhere किसी ने बनाया है by chance and people are like आपके बच्चे बहुत अच्छे हैं सब कुछ खाते हैं and I'm thinking yeah wait till you get home you get two tight whacks.
It's a good experience for you to also take in that difficulty with a smile.
Yeah.
A good experience. It's good parenting.
So I see merit in it now compared
Yes.
to what you are saying. I see merit in it because it is so distasteful if you make something and somebody says, "Oh, I don't eat this."
Hmm.
It's very distasteful. So
Right. So one more point is, this doesn't apply here, but okay, we'll take this later. Okay, next. I will not regret my deeds. All these Mahavakyas only say, I will not regret my deeds. Very interesting. Do not regret what you have done.
can you explain this more, Vivek? Why is this relevant?
See, I don't know how much percentage, but we need to take out at least 30% of our all regrets are because of what we have done in the past. We are all the time crucifying ourselves. मैं ऐसे क्यों हूँ मैंने ऐसे क्यों किया ये है वो है all the time. I would say at least 30%. Arbitrarily ऐसे मैं बोल रहा हूँ पर होगा कम ज़्यादा depends on the person. He says do not regret because let's say you go back to your childhood and then in your teens you have done something wrong, right? Everybody has done something wrong. Given the same situation, will you do the same thing now? You will not do it, right? Why did you do it then? You didn't know any better. So, in life, there is a psychology, neuro-linguistic programming working. In that, one of the things is they say There are no regrets, only feedbacks in life. There are no regrets, only feedbacks. So if you've done something and you regret it, you must understand it's a feedback. I will not do it again. It's a good feedback. It's something to learn from. We say this to others. We have to say it to ourselves because it's a fact. Will you do the same thing now? Is the question. You will not do that same thing. Why won't you do it? You are wiser. You know better. So why did you do it? You didn't know better. How can you curse somebody that he didn't know better? Why did you do that? How is it his fault? He didn't know that he shouldn't do it. So you're penalizing a person for not knowing? How can you penalize yourself for not knowing? Regret comes because your intellect is educated enough and then says that was the wrong thing. Regret comes when your intellect goes back and says, "Ach, wo kharab cheez tha." At that time, when you had intellect, you wouldn't have done it. No ways. Now that you have the intellect to go back retrospectively and then say, ठीक नहीं था. तो क्या हुआ तब से अब तक इंटेलेक्ट डेवलप हुआ. The fact that you say it is wrong, that means you have a more developed intellect. Mind doesn't know right or wrong. The intellect will tell you it's right or wrong. Yes, sir.
How would you apply this to an exam situation? Because you know that you need to do a certain exam in life. Your intellect tells you that's a right thing. But let's say you're not able to clear it for whatever reason. So that regret remains. So how can you say that your intellect will tell you that this was not right? Because however developed your intellect may be, you still feel that you should have done this exam. How would you apply this in real life?
No, explain that to me again. Sorry.
Let's say, let's say there is a career that you wanted to choose. You tried it, but it did not work out. Your intellect was developed then, and it told you to do this career. How do you, so there remains a regret that you could not do this. So how do you explain at that juncture that your intellect was not sufficiently developed to tell you that this is wrong? Because it's not a wrong thing to appear for an exam or to follow a career. It's not a wrong thing.
Ah,
So
yes, that's not a wrong thing. The regret is a wrong thing.
So how can you can have a regret? No, I wish I had done this, so I wish I was able to do it.
Yes,
In
but
that case,
see, where
you
the
are in,
where the intellect comes is intellect will go back and say, did you put enough effort? So answer may be, no, I did not. Hence the regret. But the intellect goes back and say, did you put enough effort? If the answer is yes, there will not be regret. The intellect analyzes. Without the intellect, you will not have regret. So intellect analyzes, ah, I did not put enough effort. Then there is a regret. If I put enough effort, no regret. Now, when there is a regret, the intellect would say, Are, why are you regretting it? Put more effort. What is the point of regret there? It doesn't help me. So I need to put more effort. In which area where intellect analyzes, and you put. Now, even then, after that, you don't get it. There are external circumstances that you have no control over. So, intellect will understand, I put enough effort, I did everything, but then चोरी हो गया है पेपर, मैं क्या कर सकता हूँ? अभी मेरे पास उतना एफर्ट नहीं है फिर से लिखने का. So, unless the intellect comes into picture, regret doesn't go. The fact that you're regretting is you go back and analyze because of intellect. Intellect is the ability to analyze, no? Basic definition. Application of intellect will remove that regret. Does it make sense?
I wouldn't say really, because even if I apply my intellect, you will still feel that you should have done that particular thing or you should have had the ability. Now, when you talk about effort in certain careers, in whatever quantum of effort that you put in, there is a certain element of luck involved.
Hmm.
I mean, so at that you do sometimes regret. I wish I had followed a particular line of action at that time, or maybe I didn't have the ability. And why was that so?
You didn't have
For
the.
instance, I'll give you an example. Let's say we take an example, let's say, of an IAS exam. There are so many people who appear. There are so many people who don't make it. Very few people make it. So, at a certain stage in life, you do have a regret that I wish I was able to do it. Now, according to you, you say that you should not have a regret because because if you have a regret, you go back and analyze, and the intellect tells you that this was not for you. But how can you apply this to this kind of a situation? Because you want to do it, and it is not a wrong thing to pass an exam. Then how would you overcome that regret?
So that's the thing, right? The fact that you're regretting means you did not assess yourself properly. Say, first rate intellect will do what? It will analyze its personality. It knows that this is a good opportunity. I can pass it. But let's say it did not pass. Then it will analyze and say, why didn't I pass? कहाँ कहाँ मेरा क्वेश्चंस रॉन्ग हो गया तो मुझे वहाँ एफर्ट लगाना है तो एफर्ट लगाओ व्हाट इज द पॉइंट ऑफ रिग्रेट देयर why am I going and wallowing in my sorrow? That's where the intellect comes. If you don't bring in your intellect, you will wallow in the sorrow. मुझे नहीं हुआ नहीं हुआ नहीं हुआ. An objective approach would be, oh, these are the areas that I failed. I didn't perform well. Let me go and put more effort there. The moment intellect comes, regret goes. But if you don't bring your intellect, you just wallowing in the past.
Yeah, that's right. Because you all generally tend to wallow in the past where favorable situations are concerned. You wish that you had that. I mean,
तो that अरे अच्छा परफॉर्म करना था. That is illogical. अच्छा परफॉर्म करना था means what? The attitude in which you went is to अच्छा परफॉर्म करना था और आपने परफॉर्म किया. उससे अच्छा क्या है? जितना आप परफॉर्म कर सकते थे उतना आपने परफॉर्म किया. उसके बाद आप बोलते और अच्छा परफॉर्म करना था. कैसे होगा? जितना आपका कैपेसिटी था उतना आपने दिया. नहीं, उससे ज्यादा देना था. हाउ कैन यू आस्क ए मारुति कार टू ड्राइव लाइक अ फरारी? So I need to tune that Maruti engine next time. There are cases where it can never be a Ferrari. That also intellect will tell you. But you don't, that's not the attitude that you have though. No matter what, see, certain people have a 160 IQ. We don't do. We don't have that. Why don't I have it? You just don't have it. Hence, you're not a quantum physicist or particle physicist. You're not. Why am I not like that? आपका इंटरेस्ट नहीं है. फर्स्ट ऑफ ऑल आपका कैपेसिटी नहीं होगा. आपका इंटरेस्ट और एक प्लेस में है. उसमें भी मैं सक्सेसफुल नहीं हूँ. अरे आपका इंटरेस्ट उतने जो सक्सेसफुल है उसका इंटरेस्ट उसी में है. आपका इंटरेस्ट वेरियस थिंग्स में है, उसमें भी है, तो वो बंदा डिफरेंट है, आप डिफरेंट हो. You see what I'm saying? So, regret is a wasteful activity. It's an important feedback. It's a very important feedback because without regret, how will you know what has gone right or wrong? But it's just a wasteful activity. What is the point of it? It comes because of lack of assessment of your personality, as I said. See, yesterday is a history, tomorrow is a mystery, but today is a gift. That is why it's called present, it seems. So, जो हो गया हो गया. फ्यूचर में क्या होने वाला है नहीं मालूम. तो अभी है तो अभी जियो. यस. ऑल्सो इट्स कैनॉट बी अनडन. पास्ट गया, टाइम flows in a linear fashion. Cannot go back and change it. This is from I think a book called Harry Potter. It does not do to dwell on dreams and forget to live. In the sense, फ्यूचर में और पास्ट में दोनों, ऐसे होना था, ऐसे होना था, forget to live. So either you take it as a burden or you take it as a feedback. So it's all based on that personalization that we have, It's either an event or a interpretation based on personalization. You look at it from your personal angle and it hurts. You look at it as an event, a past event, it doesn't hurt. The moment अरे मैंने और मुझसे कैसे हो गया is different from ये एक चीज हुआ. There's a lot of difference in what you feel when you say these things. ऐसे लाखों हुए हैं सभी से. लाखों मुझसे भी हुआ है. वन ऑफ them. लाखों ने करोड़ों हुए हैं. वन. ओके, बिग डील. नहीं, मैंने ऐसे क्यों किया इस प्रॉब्लम, राइट?
वो वैसे होना ही था.
वो वैसे होना ही था. आप अभी आपका जितना एफर्ट था आपने डाला वो वैसे ही होना है.
एग्जैक्टली.
क्या कर सकते हैं? It's not a defeatist attitude. It's a very intelligent attitude, People immediately misconstrue this as, sir, ये वो तो pessimistic है. Pessimistic है ही नहीं है, बहुत optimistic है. Because even the wrong things you're taking as a feedback and then trying to improve. It's very optimistic. And then you know that story, right? जो भी होता है अच्छे के लिए होता है, वो मंत्री का स्टोरी था ना. There are no actually, see, beauty of this philosophy is it gives you perspectives. So you can always say, अरे जो भी होता है अच्छे के लिए होता है. You lost a finger, जो भी होता है अच्छे के लिए होता है. My amazing perspectives. Uh, I remember. So I remember perspective is so important. One of my friend's mother had autoimmune disease. She was suffering a lot of pain, eating up her lungs. You know, autoimmune disease, right? Your body attacks itself. It's painful. It's I don't know if there are any cures though, but still. So she was in a lot of pain. Look at the perspective that she has got. A very interesting person. So my friend asked her, Mama, you're in a lot of pain, right? What? And she passed away. What are your pain? And she says, जिसने मुझे ये दुख दिया, उसी की जिम्मेदारी है कि मुझे दुख सहने की क्षमता दे. हाँ? Get that beautiful way she puts it. जिसने मुझे दुख दिया, वो उसी की जिम्मेदारी है कि दुख सहने की क्षमता दे. He will give me that power. And she gone through that. Perspective. You can look at it as, why did he give it to me? Or you can say, wow, he gave it, he will give me the power to endure it. Incredible. One more we'll take. I will not be envious of anybody, good or bad. Now, why is a person envious?
उसको अपने में कुछ कमी नजर आती है.
क्यों नजर आई?
किसी और के पास है,
हाँ, तो क्या हुआ, उसने क्या किया?
कंपेयर किया.
कंपेयर किया. कंपेयर किया, बड़ी गलती की. Comparison is a death sentence for you. It's a total death sentence. And we teach it. It's such a horrendous thing we teach it to our kids. Compare karo. Horrible, horrible thing to do is to compare, I tell you. Jealousy is because of comparison. I'm not envious of either good or bad. Right? Oh, beware, my lord of jealousy. It is the green-eyed monster which doth mock the meat it feeds on. Othello. And you know what? What a beautiful story. Othello is envious. He is feeling jealousy because he suspects his wife is having an affair. But his wife is one of the most pativrata lady ever. And then he is saying, oh, beware, my lord, of jealousy. He knows it is a green-eyed monster that mocks the meat it feeds on. The other person has no ख्याल भी नहीं है उसको क्या हो रहा है, पर आपका मन खत्म हो रहा है. It's just like the monster is eating you up. It hurts, here in this chest area. It hurts when you feel envy or jealousy. It becomes dark and concentrated. That's what happens in jealousy. What creates jealousy? Comparison. Comparison is an interesting thing. Comparison is like, oh, why is a lily not an oak? You may have lily in your house. Can you think of an oak tree in your house? Oh, you may say, sir, I have a bonsai. That's not an oak tree. That's the stunted version. Lilies. How is a lily an oak? Same thing. And you know what? Who you compare yourself to? Who do you compare yourself to?
People close to us, people around us.
Okay. You have a uncle who is a billionaire, crorepati, and you are not even lakpati, let's say. And he is older. He's maybe in his 70s. Are you comparing yourself to your close person? No, you don't compare. So it's not just people who are close to you. Who do you compare to?
Someone who has something more than you.
So your uncle has more than you. Why don't you compare yourself with him? Will you compare with your servant? She's close to you. She stays in your house, let's say, day servant. Will you compare yourself with her? No. Why not? I can't hear.
Surely I can compare myself with my servant because the level of happiness that that person possesses, I lack it.
Ah, okay.
The concept of acceptability of their status in life.
So you can compare, but do you, whenever you see, you feel jealousy, envious?
Yes, I do, because I feel
Ah,
that why is it that if you ask me, I feel envious of you also because you have something which I don't have. Then I start feeling that if I had the kind of knowledge you had, maybe my life would have been different.
but I doubt, sir, you feel jealousy.
No, I
You
jealous.
may
No, I
feel
feel that I wish I had that kind of knowledge.
that is different. I'm talking about jealousy. See, what is he saying here? What is he saying? He's saying jealousy. I do not feel jealousy. Envious, he said. See, you may compare to your servant and feel bad. अरे वो कितना happy है मैं नहीं हूँ. But jealousy and envious is different thing. You feel that friction there. You know, there's a friction. Yeah, I'll tell you. You compare to your equals, who you consider equal. You don't compare to unequal people. You will not compare yourself to the Prime Minister. Prime Minister's age is maybe 80. Your 80-year-old grandfather will not compare himself with Prime Minister and then say, अरे कितना उसने किया मैंने कुछ भी नहीं किया. He will not compare. He will compare to his next door, who is he close to, who he feels equal. So it's very interesting. You feel a person is equal. You don't think, you feel a person is equal. You compare and you get agitated. You have written off that Dhoni is not equal to you. Or Sudha Murthy, or who is this lady who comes in Shark Tank? Very famous lady.
Vanita Singh.
Will you compare yourself to Minita Singh?
She's my classmate. But I don't.
You
In
don't
fact,
compare. Why
it's a
not?
very good, it's a
She's a
very good
classmate.
example.
Yes, you don't compare.
It's a very good example, Vivek. I tell someone about it and I say that, we went to the same school. I know her. And I had even, been in touch with her maybe 2, 3 years ago before she became really big with sugar. And I was telling someone that I cannot come, even Kunal Behel of Snapdeal, he's also my classmate from school.
Ah,
So I said, I cannot compare myself with them because they made very different choices right after college. Every year, their choices were different to mine. They chose discomfort, they chose whatever. And you, I genuinely feel I cannot compare. There is no comparison.
because you don't feel them as your equals. You
Yes,
have
we are not
you
equals.
have written it off in your head. They are not my equals.
We are
Hence, there's
not
no
equal.
comparison. There's no agitation. But you will compare to your colleague because you have written it off as their equal. The problem is not they're equal or unequal. The problem is your perception that they're equal or unequal. Now, whether they're equal or unequal is a different debate. But your comparison starts because you feel it's just a mental feeling that they're equal or unequal. Now the question starts, are they equal to you? Why is a lily not an oak? A lily is never equal to an oak. So even if you feel you want to compare to an equal, I can prove it to you that he is not your equal. You are a lily, he is an oak. You are a mountain, he is a squirrel. You must understand the mountain and the squirrel, a lily and oak, you and your so-called comparative person are all individual units who are working in unison to run this show of nature, of world. Just as you cannot compare a lily to an oak, you cannot compare yourself to anybody in this world. You are a unique specimen. Unique means your interests are different. You have thousands of desires, thousands of interests, thousands of sensitivities, thousands of ways of analyzing, which cannot be equated to another person. You and him, you or her, are only equal in she's my classmate. That's it. One, one thing. One thing. Let's say, okay, TK, she's working in the same company. Two things. Okay, let's say three things. She's also married. Okay, fourth thing. She's also her kids. That's it. You'll compare an entire personality on four factors? Four factors? What kind of a scientist are you? What kind of an intellectual are you? What kind of an intellect is this? How can you compare a person with 10,000 data points and you with 10,000 data points and compare on four things and then feel bad? You must be mad. We are all mad. 10 data points, take 10 little, 10. How many interests they have, how many interests you have? How can you compare? It's just not possible. You cannot compare two people. You are different. I'm not saying you're Mahatma great. You're just different. Then your own identical twin. Forget about anybody else. You're different from your identical twin. Swamiji says this. Comparison is madness. Madness in the sense, पागल लोग करते हैं comparison. A buddhu does that. That's why I told you about watching this movie called What a Wonderful Life, 1946. Search it on YouTube. I'll also send the link. This movie explains how you are a unique person. You may not be great, but you are unique. You're different. And you should thank God for being you. Because what you can achieve, He cannot achieve. And he thanks God for being himself. Because what he can achieve, you cannot achieve. Talents differ. All is well and wisely put. If I cannot carry mountain on my back, the squirrel says, neither can you crack a nut. That's what I will explain this. Any questions?
I have a question. When you say that, why don't you compare yourself to the Prime Minister, or let's say somebody who has achieved something in life? Doesn't comparison sometimes spring you into action? Let's say, for instance, Modi is a very disciplined person. He, so if I compare myself and I say I lack that kind of the quantum of discipline that he has, doesn't that arouse in me uh, a sense to try and emulate him to a certain extent, though I may not be totally uh, like him? So, isn't that sometimes comparison a favorable trait?
Sure. I will not be envious of anybody, is what Mushashi said. He never said, I will not compare myself. I am saying comparison leads to enviousness, jealousy. But the current state is you will not compare yourself with Prime Minister. When you compare with Prime Minister, it gives you perspective of what needs to be done. But you will not compare with Prime Minister. You usually compare with your so-called equals. And that gives you pressure, not what? Inspiration. It gives you perspiration. Hence, comparison. See, you understand, right? I will never compare myself with Prime Minister. So I never feel envious or bad about myself. But when I compare myself with Prime Minister, I get inspired. Okay, I'll be disciplined. Right? When, if and I compare. Usually compare with equals. And whenever I compare with equals, I feel bad. So what I'm saying is, just as you are not the Prime Minister, you are not the person you are comparing yourself to. It's equally distinct and different. Maybe you're more data points with Modi than this friend because you are from Gujarat. He is also from Gujarat. This fellow is from, I don't know, Timbuktu. Modi is your age. He is also, age shodo. He is also fair in color. You are also fair in color. This fellow is dark in color. You have more comparison with Modi than this fellow. But Modi doesn't bug you. Modi inspires you. This fellow should inspire you. But this fellow bugs you. Why? Because you compare with him and feel bad about yourself. Why do you do that to yourself? He's different, I'm different. बहुत हो गया comparison. Life itself is full of comparison and full of regrets. मैंने ये नहीं किया, वो नहीं किया. Arey, first of all, do you know you need to do that? You don't need to do certain things that he is doing. That's, first of all, we have never assessed. मुझे ये चाहिए कि नहीं? मैं ये करूँ कि नहीं? नहीं नहीं करना है. क्यों करना है भाई? किसने बोला करना है? वो कर रहा है ना. उसको करना है, वो कर रहा है. मे बी वो भी उतना ही पागल है जैसे मैं हूं. उसको भी नहीं करना है, वो भी किसी से कंपेयर करके कर रहा है. चाहिए नहीं करना. मैराथन रन करना है मुझे 60 ईयर्स में. क्यों करना है आपको मैराथन? किसने बोला करना है? नहीं, व्हाट्सएप वीडियो में बोला है. क्यों भाई? वॉक 5 किलोमीटर डे बहुत है. आई एम जस्ट सेइंग, आई एम नॉट अ हेल्थ स्पेशलिस्ट और एनीथिंग. यू डोंट नीड टू डू मैराथन. Or maybe you need to do marathon. You should know. Unequal data points we compare and then feel bad. I am like, no, you should be fed up with yourself by doing this. Why am I doing this? Everybody we see, we feel bad about ourselves. Why? Human beings' life is sad life. He makes it sad. We make it sad. It's not a sad life. We have made it sad life. We have decided to live suboptimally.
Oh, Vivek, there are plenty of people you meet and you realize you don't have a sad life. You have the best life.
True.
No, that is true. You meet
See,
somebody
comparison helps also, na?
you meet somebody in a misfortunate accident. You meet somebody who's had an untimely tragedy. You meet anybody and you realize your life is, you don't have any complaint. You're living first world problems.
Yeah,
Mm.
that's a good point. Comparison helps also. But if you
My
do it
husband didn't listen to me. That is the epitome of my problems. You meet somebody who's my help. Vivek, it's a relevant point. She's 35. She's 23 when she lost her husband with two children. Okay. And she's raising both girls herself. And I said, you didn't choose to remarry. She says he would never accept somebody else's kids, especially girls. And I'm thinking, oh my God. At 23, she resigned herself to single parenthood, being alone, no companionship. and the responsibility that that comes with. So uh, sometimes it's just, I mean, just small examples. Everything is not money. It's
It's
also,
inspiring. You compare herself with yourself and get inspired.
I feel like, what a lady,
Yeah, incredible.
what a lady.
Any other questions? ठीक है. ॐ पूर्णमदं पूर्णमिदं पूर्णात् पूर्णमुदच्यते पूर्णस्य पूर्णमादाय पूर्णमेवावशिष्यते. ॐ शान्ति शान्ति. We'll meet next time. Hari Om.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir.
Hari Om.
Hari.
Hari Om.